everybody, I'm Jenny Gage, and this is Life Take Two, where I share my harrowing escape from Mormon trad wife life. I want to start this video by thanking all of you. My favorite part of producing content for YouTube is hearing from you. I get such great advice. I have people who are just encouraging, who are validating, who tell me to keep going, and also people who tell me things that I'm doing wrong, that I'm able to correct, and I'm not being satirical about that or sarcastic. I appreciate some of the constructive criticism that helps me grow and become better. Today, I'm going to answer a specific question that I had on one of my videos about my Mormon returned missionary husband's adultery. Someone asked me how exactly I ended up on the phone with one of the paid professionals that he was engaging with intimately. I couldn't dig the comment up to screenshot it, but I think it was specifically, how the hell did you end up on one of the phone with one of these girls? There's a reason why I share these stories, and it is this. If you suspect that your partner is cheating on you, it is extremely important for you to gather evidence, because they may or may not confess to what's going on, and you may or may not ever get to the bottom of things, and you need to know. What was happening behind the scenes in my husband's life was life-threatening to me and our children, and I would have never, ever found out if I hadn't found the evidence myself through some sleuthy investigating that, frankly, I'm still shocked I was capable of. 22 years into my marriage, my husband's business partner / my 8-year-old daughter's Sunday school teacher would randomly dump a bunch of information on me one day. And I don't know why. I've never had a conversation with him since. But he would tell me a bunch of specific things. Jake is cheating on you. He's getting ready to leave you. He's on this keto diet and doing CrossFit because he's getting ready to look hot for other women and for the women that he's having affairs with. And he's picking up girls in his semi truck and taking them across the country. So after that conversation, I sat down and made notes of everything he had said to me. I also called my husband and said, Josh just told me all this stuff. He denied it. And I kind of believed him, but I got to work investigating specifically. And I do other videos going into the details of this. So I'm not going to address complex way in which I was able to get all of the information off of his phone. But specifically, I downloaded all of his contacts and photos from his cell phone one day, put them on my computer, and I just started calling all the numbers. And because I'm not an actual private investigator, I was just a wife and mom, I didn't exactly know what to say. But those that did answer the phone, I said something like, hey, I'm looking for Jake Brown. Does anybody know where he is? My name's Jenny. Your number was in his phone. I'm trying to find him. And a lot of people hung up on me. But then I started having conversations with girls who were like, oh, I haven't seen Jake for a while. And then I'd ask them, how long since you've seen him? And they'd tell me when it was. And then I got a couple of girls who started to spill the tea. Obviously, their guard was kind of up because a total stranger who was a woman that could potentially have been a wife was calling their phones. So I got little bits and pieces of information. And again, I had a notebook and I wrote everything down. Who the person was, what the phone number was, specifically what they had told me, making sure I was keeping track of names and dates and anything that they gave me. Then eventually I had enough evidence to confront my husband, and he couldn't lie about it. So he confessed to 22 years of adultery. So many affairs, I still don't know the exact number. I think the whole thing kind of scared the shit out of him too, that I knew so much. And I know my reasons for staying. I'll actually drop an article in the description here so that you can read about how I was financially trapped as a Mormon trad wifey who didn't have any way to support herself. So I then had to stay with this horrible human being for the next 3 years, when he would cheat on me again, by the way, and end our marriage. But I don't really know what all of his reasons were for staying. Maybe he thought it was easier to stay with me than to pay for a divorce. Maybe he actually wanted to be with his family. Maybe he was afraid that I was going to blow up his life. I don't know. What I do know is this. Once we agreed that we were going to reconcile, separate, but keep our family together and work on our marriage and work towards full reconciliation, he agreed to absolute full disclosure of everything. He said, if any of these girls send me a text, a picture, phone call, anything, if I'm online looking for somebody, if anything happens, if I can't control myself, I will let you know. You will have full disclosure of everything that I'm doing. And I don't know, maybe he didn't keep up with this as much as I thought he was, but as far as I could tell, he was being pretty transparent with me. When he would get a text from somebody, he would screenshot it and send it to me or hand his phone over. And I started going out on the road with him in his semi truck as he drove across the country. I'd have my mother in law or nanny come stay with the kids. And this gave us the opportunity to discuss things that were a little bit tricky to discuss with 4 kids at home in the privacy of a semi truck, driving down the freeway with nothing else to do but talk. And I think we're in Illinois one day when, while driving down the highway in that semi truck, his cell phone rang. And the minute he saw the phone number, it was like on his dash, he kind of jolted. And he's like, I am going to answer this and then I'm going to hand it over to you. And so he pushed the button for the phone to pick up on speaker in the truck. And it was a girl. And he's like, oh, hey, Jesse, how's it going? And he said, hey, I'm going to hand the phone over to a friend of mine. So I took the phone, took it off a speaker, and went in the back of the truck. And that is how I found myself on the phone with a girl who had been my husband's sugar baby for 10 months without me having any idea that she existed. And what I told her was, hey, I'm traveling with Jake, and my name is Jenny, and we're having a party coming up, and I think I'm going to need some more girls. So I just wanted to get some details from you. Would you be available? We're out of town until 2 weeks from now. I don't know. I was just kind of winging it. And she was like, yes, I would be interested. And so I asked her all kinds of questions about herself. How old are you? How long have you known Jake? And that is how I know that for 10 months, she was his sugar baby. And that is how I found out that she had been in my home. And that is how I found out that she had had parties with multiples of people in my bed. I also learned some really sad details about her. She had been a runaway foster girl and she had a baby. Jake would sometimes engage with her when he was otherwise busy because she would call him and say, hey, I need to buy diapers and formula. Can I do a job for you? Her name didn't correlate to any of the photos that I had downloaded from his phone that I knew of. So I just asked her, I said, just getting ready for this party. Could you just snap a couple selfies right now and shoot them over to Jake's phone? Just so I kind of know how to plan. I want to see what you look like. And I'll tell you that this was actually one of the most heartbreaking moments of my life when this very young, she said she was 18-year-old girl, had a friend take some photos of her. And she was this sweet, tiny little redheaded girl who was a year younger than one of our daughters. 10 months. For 10 months, this poor thing had been behind the scenes in my family, and I had no idea. At some point in the conversation, I just couldn't maintain it anymore, and I had a little mini meltdown and started crying and said, I'm actually Jake's wife, and I can't believe that you would do this with a married man. And she would hang up on me. And I very much regret that I didn't save her phone number. I don't have it. I couldn't find it in any of my things. Let me tell you, the mom in me was absolutely horrified, disgusted, and heartbroken that my husband had used this young woman like that. And I tried for a little while to track her down on Facebook and stuff. And I didn't remember what her last name was. And I don't know that she even had a Facebook. But I always kind of thought, wouldn't it be amazing to make some reparations for the things that my partner had done by, I don't know, helping her get off the streets. This is one of the photos that she texted over that day. I still don't understand how a dad could use young women like this, but men do around the world every day, and it is sad. And as much as that day was one of the worst days of my life, every day of that young girl's life had to have been a nightmare. I just hope that somehow she bumped into somebody who saw her for more than just what she could do for them.